I built ChatGPT travel agent application that works inside ChatGPT. Previously, I also built a small multimodal MCP application which runs inside ChatGPT. And in the video, I also talk about how the ChatGPT apps SDK works in general. So we will use the Booking.com API from Rapid API and not the official .com API for this application. There will be two API calls. The first one is search hotel destination, and the second one is the search hotels for a given destination. We will also integrate the Stripe payment method into the application so that users can make payments. Users can also view their booking payments at any time directly inside ChatGPT. Let's run the application. We will do everything locally. In the video I also explain how to use ngrok to map the local IP to the public one, so we can run and debug the application locally. On localhost port 3000, you will see the UI of the application, but it's functional only inside ChatGPT. We open a new chat and create an app by specifying the MCP server URL. So let's copy it. Let's call it travel booking MCP. We also use Google Authentication for secure sign-in. Upon authentication, the system redirects us to Google account login page. Later we will debug all of these components and you will see in detail how the authentication and other parts work. The travel agent app is now available inside ChatGPT and ready to be selected. Now I can type help me to book a trip. You can also type something similar. We will explore different ways of triggering the UI. Now you can see the application where you can select the destination. Now let's type I am planning to spend my holiday in Italy. Our system sends a request to the Rapid API booking endpoint to fetch 5 destinations, which are then displayed in an interactive carousel component. When we click on a carousel item to search for hotels, the ChatGPT page switches to full screen mode. And when I close it, it returns to inline mode. We handle this programmatically by interacting with the ChatGPT Apps SDK. Let's select the destination, then check-in, check-out dates, the number of adults and children, and let's search hotels. So now we will send a request to the second API, which fetches hotels for the given destination and displays the top 20 results. Instead of displaying an interactive map on the page, we show a thumbnail image of the selected hotel area. The reason is that the ChatGPT app runs inside an iframe, and opening the map, which is also rendered inside an iframe, is blocked. There doesn't seem to be a way to configure it to allow this behavior. For that reason, we displayed the thumbnail, and users can click it to open a map in a new tab. So users must accept the terms and conditions before selecting hotel. Once a user selects a hotel, we display the payment component. The most intuitive experience would be to allow the user to enter their card details and pay directly on the page when they click Pay Now. I've used the React Stripe component multiple times for this purpose. However, in this case, it doesn't work because the control is inside an iframe and ChatGPT blocks this behavior. So we will use different approach, redirecting the user to the Stripe page to make the payment. When a user clicks the Pay Now button, we don't redirect them directly to the Stripe page. Instead, we display an open Stripe checkout button. The reason is that a redirect cannot occur without a user action on the client side. Therefore, we include the second button to allow the user to manually trigger the redirect. So now we are on the Stripe page and you can see the test payment. We enter the card info and click Pay to complete the transaction. After a successful payment, you can see the payment details along with the loader that indicates data is being inserted into the MongoDB database. This allows users to view their booking and payment information at any time within the ChatGPT page by typing show my booking and something like show payments for my bookings or similar commands. On the Stripe page, you will see the test payment. After refreshing the page, the widgets such as the carousel control and total listing still receive the necessary properties to display data. This happens because the data is automatically restored as the conversation and its tool output persist outside the iframe. Now let's pay now one more time. But this time we will not complete the payment. As you can see, now we are redirected to the cancellation page. If we refresh the Stripe page, you will see that the payment remains incomplete. Now let's type show my payments. Let's try one more time. Show my payments. You can see our payment and list of payments. So in the database, there are additional data because I have already made test payments. You can receive this information at any time after selecting the application and authenticating. Now let's start a new chat. Let's type I am planning my holiday. Please help me. Let's type I'd like to go to Dubai. You can select travel dates. Let's select one more time. I am planning. No, just type. Yeah, I am planning my holiday. Please help me. I'd like to go to Dubai. So now we can also select hotel and pay as we did before. We can also go to the previous chat, like this one, book a trip. All these payments are saved into the Mongo database. These are users. We have only one user and payments. As you saw in the previous section, we enabled auth from this ChatGPT dialog. OAuth, Open Authorization, is the industry standard protocol that lets one application request limited access to users' data that lives in another system, without the user handing over their password. Instead, the user authorizes a handoff. The user signs in directly with the identity provider, in our case is Google, and the provider issues temporary tokens, and the requesting application uses those tokens to act on the user's behalf within the approved scope. We will not go into much detail explaining each line of code. We will mostly concentrate on the auth flow in this project. Let's debug the application. The auth server exposes two well-known endpoints. The first one is auth protected resource, and this auth protected resource document tells ChatGPT that any protected calls to our MCP tool API requires bearer token in the header, and that tokens can be obtained from the same base URL. The other well-known endpoint is the auth authorization server. ChatGPT reads that document to discover where to send users for login and which flows and scopes we support. For this protected resource, authorization server. This is the chart flow, and we see that first we discover the endpoints, then we have a dynamic client registration. Actually, we are redirecting. We are redirected to auth register endpoints, which implements dynamic client registration. ChatGPT uses it to enroll itself as an auth client the first time it connects, instead of you hard coding the client ID and secret. Yeah, we just should start it over. Now we are redirected to redirected user to the authorized authorized. When ChatGPT needs user consent, it sends the user to authorized route. We serialize ChatGPT's redirect info into state, swap in Google as the upstream provider, and forward the user to Google's consent screen. On the Google Cloud page, we create project, then we create client, select web application, and add the URIs pointing to the redirect URIs that we already did. And after that we just publish it. We have client ID and client secret, which we put in our environment, in the project's environment file. Now let's continue. We have to one more time. We have to do it one more time. After the user approves, Google calls back to out, callback endpoint, a route where we store here we store Google short-lived code, generate internal code for ChatGPT, and redirect the user back. This is the flow. Yeah, we have to do one more time. Now you see that after the auth callback, ChatGPT then hits auth token endpoint. Here we here we proxy the exchange against Google's token endpoint and normalize the response to ChatGPT. That ChatGPT gets a standard or token payload. Here is the normalization part. And actually, we have either grant type is the authorization code, or it's a refresh token. So after that, we just normalize the response for ChatGPT to get standard or token payload. Here is token. Then now we are in MCP route. So in the MCP route code we should validate this token against Google, validate this token and populate the out context like email, Google Sub and Scopes. So here actually we have the token info where we have email, scope, see the scopes, and other information, other information. So in short, this auth lets ChatGPT verify and reuse the user's Google identity while our backend remains the broker. We never set passwords, we just orchestrate redirects, token exchanges, and final token validations before serving protected resources. In the MCP route file, when the handler is called, first it preloads the HTML for each service, hotels, Stripe, payments, and wrap those into content widget configs that describe how the assistant should embed the booking UI, and each widget includes metadata like template URI, display strings, and the downstream widget domain, so OpenAI knows it's safe to render the iframe-like view. For each widget, the server advertises a resource, register resource that returns the HTML wrapped in HTML tag. This is what lets the UI render inside the assistant when a tool response references the template URI. But the actual tools with UI are the register tool calls. Each tool reuses the widget metadata via widget meta, so when the tool is invoked, the assistant bot shows the short text response, the content, and provides structured data for state structured content, and signals that the widget template should be displayed. This is how asking to show hotels or load Stripe renders the embedded UI. Let's debug the application. Let's select the app and type bring up the booking experience. I am thinking about visiting Canada this summer. So after hitting search from the client UI, we make a tool call by passing the query as the user message. Inside the search destination tool that we called, we extract location from the query and call the booking API to return the destinations. Now when we click search hotels, we will forward the prompt back. Let's do it now. Now when we click the search hotels, we forward the prompt back into ChatGPT conversation. I also pass the form data, which contains the selected information used to search for hotels. Note that instead of describing what we want directly in this message, we can just pass a JSON object with properties such as tool ID, template URI, and form data. This should also work. As you can see in this register hotels view tool, we receive the form data as params, which actually renders the hotel widget UI by passing those parameters as props. Note that we have rendered the UI, but we still need to fetch hotels list. So, the hotels page TSX actually is called as defined in the MCP. Where it registers as hotels list with the given path to hotels. In this page TSX file, we receive the form data as properties, as probes. And then we call send message with the payload to invoke the get hotels by destination tool. So the tool in turn connects to the booking API to retrieve the list of hotels. I didn't add a breakpoint because we already confirmed the behavior earlier. Selecting a hotel. After selecting a hotel, we will call the stripe control. So actually calling this stripe page is very similar to what we saw before. And actually even simpler. We render the widgets and pass the props, which includes the selected hotel information and authenticated user email address to display the UI. There is no tool call from the UI because we don't need to retrieve any additional information from the API. We simply render the stripe control using the data that we passed in. When we click the Pay Now button, we should receive the Stripe session URL. So actually this Pay Now button makes fetch request to the API checkpoint endpoint. And here we generate and return the session Stripe session URL. Note that we also created two pages, success and cancel, to handle the scenarios where the payment is successful or cancelled. And actually when the payment is successful, we call another endpoint, the payment endpoint, the route, where we actually insert the selected information into the Mongo database. Now when we click Open Stripe Checkout, we are navigated to the Stripe page. So after the successful payment, the user is shown the success page, and the API payments endpoint is triggered to store the payment details in Mongo database. On the Stripe transaction page, we can see the payment. If we type show my payments, we will see that show booking payment tool is called, and all the payments for the logged in user are retrieved and displayed on the page. In MongoDB, you can view the user record along with their associated payments.